Luke, hello, sir.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Good.
Just to let you know, I started recording when you entered the room. I hope that's okay.
Oh wow, though that's early, so I cannot tell you junk things.
Oh,
All the wrong things I wanted to tell you before you start recording, I cannot tell you now.
look, the CIA started recording ages ago.
Yeah, well, no, not that bad thing that I wanted to tell you. It would be things that people like in 10 years you will see, you will watch the recording and say, okay, what is he talking about? Did I do that? Did I say that? It's been so long. The thing about recording is that I like going back 10 years ago. I have recordings from 10 years ago. So right now, sometimes I open my app and look at the video that I took and say, where was I again? Why did I take that picture or that movie that made the movie? So yeah, really interesting.
It's interesting, definitely. The people growing up with a much more documented history than today than
of things that we did.
I am genuinely glad that when I was a teenager, there wasn't YouTube out there
to record what you did.
So my relative, I can pretend that I've always been
a good boy.
Yes, and smart intellectual adult. That's all I am. So Luke, yeah, the purpose of this conversation. So I'm trying to do these like street epistemology community interviews, and the purpose of this really is not anything other than just to. You okay?
Yeah, just is the volume.
No problem. Is basically just to have a brief chat with you and just give people a chance to get to know you. So obviously there are lots of new people entering the SE community. You and I have definitely spoken plenty of times before, and I'm sure most of the people in the SE server, have had a chance to get to know you a little bit and have spoken to you. But obviously lots of new people coming into the SE server and into the community at large, and so it's just like nice to talk to people a little bit about sort of how they discovered SE and how they feel about the community and just sort of give people a chance to have an introduction to you and your sort of a little bit about you and that's it really. Does that sound okay to you?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So maybe we could start with, if you could just give us like a little bit of a background about sort of who you are and what you do and also I guess how you discovered the SE community.
So my name is Luke. I'm technical engineer. No, computer engineer. That's okay. The term. I'm French, so sometimes I look at words and search them in English. That will happen. I'm a Catholic, and I found out about street epistemology on a server that is not there anymore. With Dali was the one who introduced me to the concept. I had conversation with Discord users before, and I had the conversation with Dali, and that's where everything started.
Awesome.
You feel the difference between those two conversations.
So some of this I know you and I've covered, but just for the sake of an introduction, been a Catholic your whole life?
Yeah, kind of. I wasn't something else. If someone were to ask me, are you a Catholic, I would say, well, I'm not sure at one point. But I never said, no, I'm a Muslim, or no, I'm a Jew, or no, I'm a something else, or an atheist. I never been an atheist in my life.
Gotcha.
It was really, really soon I knew that there was a God.
So you've always been a believer, but the nature of that belief has changed as you've gotten older.
Yeah, not refined.
Refined. Fair enough. So one thing that we hear a lot is that the SE community is not underpopulated by atheists.
yeah, of course, there's a lot of them. Yeah.
So, as somebody who is a theist or holds a theistic belief, how do you feel about the SE community? How do you think it? What advice can you give to other theists who might want to interact with this group?
Say the truth. It's not that hard if your epistemology is strong enough to understand why you believe what you believe. There is no animosity from those non-theist people. There is no it's well, for me, I'm old, so I've been through many instances where people try to put me down or diminish my faith, kind of thing. So when I encountered SE, it wasn't something new for me. So yeah, at the beginning of SE, there were arguments that people say, "Oh, now I have a way to put those arguments forward," without having to argue for them. I don't have to put arguments for the thing that I heard on that video against theism. So I can use street epistemology to ask this theist what is his view on this argument that I heard online, and I couldn't interact with the video that I watched online. I couldn't understand what the person that we're arguing, because arguing online is something that that you do not have control over, and you some arguments you are like, that's not an argument. How is it argument? Because there is something missing for it to be an argument. With street epistemology, you are able to ask this: what do you mean by that? When you say this is the argument, what do you mean by this? Why is it an argument for you? And those kind of thing. And so for those theists who are asked question by the atheist community of street epistemology, I would say, yeah, answer truthfully. Don't try to hide that you don't know. There are things that are linked to feelings. And you say, well, I don't know, and I just feel it. I feel like it, and that's it.
That's good advice no matter what you believe, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you say, like, how do you know that you like ice cream? I'm like, I don't know. Well, I tasted it. I don't know. Yeah.
Have you practiced SE? If you ever outside of the SE server, have you ever had a street epistemology conversation? And if so, yes. how's that gone?
So yes, this thing that you call SE is a thing that I have been doing for ever from the beginning of when I looked at which God was the real one. That's how, because that's how you know how to choose which God. You look at the epistemology of that's God, and then you need those kind of questions and arguments and finding and questioning, and so I was a little questioner guy when I worked in how do you call that? Those Muslim places. Mosque, yeah. Well, I walked in mosques and it's that guy. When I walked in the church, it's that guy, and those kind of things. So it was way before I met SE. And when I met SE, I was like, okay, finally I have this kind of environment where I could get the answer from the atheist community. I couldn't get the answer from the atheist community in other environments because people were interjecting on another one. So even in one-on-one debate server, where there is only one other person that you talk to, you didn't have this insight on the other side because they had arguments that they prepared on the paper, and their arguments was squared, and that's it. You had time to present your arguments, and there was an exchange after that, but the exchange was more about what I said instead of what he said. So, I didn't have this time to explore the mind of these atheists. And
gotcha.
SC allowed me to do that. SC allowed me to to poke this mind and understand why do they believe that there is not a God.
Has there been anything that you've found out through those explorations that you found especially interesting? What would you say the things you've learned through being
Yes,
part of
so
this?
there is the analogy with the flat earther analogy, because I had the ability to use SE also on flat earthers. So because I had this, it was really amazing. The feeling I had where I asked questions to the flat earthers, and I'm like, oh, I asked the same question to the atheist. And then I went on my session with this flat earther. I'm like, those questions are really similar. And how do you know that this is true? And what would make you think of otherwise? Those were what would make you think of otherwise is something that SE allowed me to run deep into, because I realized using SE that up to now I still have um, to find some atheist who says I know what would change my mind.
Okay, I'm resisting the temptation to.
Yeah, I know that you have your own way, but you are talking about miracles. I remember our conversation.
Well, so the temptation to, as always with you, Luke, is to enter into lots of different places in this conversation, but I'm going to resist the temptation. How would you describe street epistemology to somebody who wasn't, hadn't seen it or hadn't heard of it? How would you characterize it? What would you say it was?
There will always be reason why they are here. It's never luck, really. It's like they are on Discord and they looked for something to find a server. They were in search of connection or communication with someone else or subject to know more about a subject. SE is a really good tool to know more about the subject that you're looking for. So use it to understand better the subject that you wanted to know about when you
So
jumped.
would you describe SE as the Discord server then? Is that what you mean?
Oh, yeah. If they were to find SE in other setup than Discord server, that's how I found it. That's why I said that. But in other, I don't know how. Okay, let's say you find it in the street, like the real purpose of street technology. So you walk by this tunnel, and let's say, let's talk about something. It's harder for me to that person who walks in. If you want to know if your view or your claim is strong enough, sit down and talk about it. If you are persuaded of something and you are wondering if it's because mother said so, or if this for other reason than mother said so, and SE will allow you to explore these kind of reasons why you think this is true.
Gotcha.
So that's what I would say to someone: sit down, explore why do you think it's true. If you want to, if you don't want to, don't sit down. It's just still fun to explore ourselves, to know more about ourselves. It's still fun. Sit down, have it's fun. It's a fun experience. It's entertaining. You know more about yourself. You know more about the person who you're talking to, because when someone asks you a question, it has this you have this feeling of somebody is interested in what I am saying. And this feeling is something that is really core to our beings. It is something that we look up for in our parents, our family, and we want to be listened to. and we want to be interesting to others because, well, survival things, blah blah blah. There are reasons, but it is built in. This is what we want, and fame and power and whatnot. So yeah, SE is a way to feel better about yourself. Also, it might make you doubt what you believed, but you will still feel better about yourself, and you will be entertained by the conversation that you had with the person you had the conversation with.
Is there anything about the SE community that you would like to see change, or that you would suggest might be improved, or is there anything? Nothing.
Oh yeah, this direct messaging thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's too strong. There is too much value against direct messaging. So I'm feeling that too often it is underlined as a bad thing when it is not a bad thing, because the person you're talking to is not someone who will be how do you call that? Offended by the direct messaging.
So for anybody not familiar, direct messaging is where you would be talking to somebody about their position, exploring their epistemology, exploring their reasons, and you would tell them something that you think they should believe, or you would inform them of how things are from your perspective, what you think. Some people would describe it as entering the conversation, or direct messaging, or injecting truths. But in any case, yes, it tends to be frowned upon, and you feel that it's too restrictively, so it's too prohibitive. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's too easy. There are things that are wrong when you say, "Oh no, you're wrong. This is the truth." Okay, this is direct messaging that should be avoided. but there are direct messaging instances on reviews on videos that I watch, and reviews of SE sessions. Some people, like, they were giving reviews and said, "This is direct messaging." We're like, no, it's not direct messaging in the context where those people were talking to each other. That's what I would change, like diminish on the direct messaging underlining.
What's been one of the most interesting SE conversations that you've participated in? What was the topic, and what made it interesting to you?
It was one of the first, not the first. It was the first time I had this this interlocutor where he said God doesn't exist. That was his claim, and we changed to I don't have enough evidence to believe that there is a God. Like a modification. I'm like, okay, thank you very much for this this agnostic part. For me, it's an agnostic. Someone who say I don't have enough evidence. It's an agnostic one. It's not an atheist. Atheist, hard atheist. Somebody who says God doesn't exist. So it was and then I realized that in the chat at that moment there were people. Most of them were atheists, and because he said that to one of the question I had about it's just that I don't have enough things to prove, and I took some time to anyway, the chats were going up. Oh yeah, me too, kind of thing. So I'm like, okay, so at least in the atheist community, most people, not all of them, but most of them have this kind of position as an atheist, more agnostic part. So that was something really interesting for me, because it triggered this questioning about what evidence is. What would you consider as evidence for God? That's where I am now.
That's cool.
I'm still doing it.
Before you were more inclined to think that somebody who was an atheist people who were claiming to be atheists were more likely to be making the positive claim that they knew there was no God. And now you've noticed that perhaps actually most people who claim to be an atheist, in fact, only hold the position that they just don't believe that they have sufficient reasons to believe in God. Is that right? Cool. Awesome. That's really cool. And has there ever been a conversation on any subject that you've participated in that's had a major or even just significant impact on the way you've thought about any particular topic?
This No, not on the subject. It's well, you just said that the about the atheist things. It was it a huge? It was an impact. It was something that I wasn't aware of before, and changed the way I do my essay sessions afterwards.
I get you.
So this event happened. Was there another thing? Oh, it was fun. I had a claim here, and it was about how objective good actions cannot have bad consequences. That I had to change. I had many claims that I had to modify, change, and remove altogether because I hit the end of the exploration for this. I don't have anything more to get from exploring this claim. So those things are cool to have. Kind of, okay, I think I run deep enough on the epistemology of this subject. I don't have this doubt anymore about it, and or I don't have this claim anymore. I don't hold this position anymore. So let me change it to something that is more akin to the position that I have. And it was one about lying. So one about lying was it is never good to lie. And then somebody said, okay, I have a list of claims. And somebody pointed out that one of my other claims was it is okay to lie to a Gestapo. I'm like, and then it was a girl. She started the conversation and say, okay, so first question, what about this claim then? I'm like, okay, thank you. That's so fun. So fun. Anyway, it's entertaining. And because it is entertaining, it changed my life every day. The entertainment purposes of things like internet, YouTube videos, cinema, whatnot. It is to help you be a better person. It helps you make yourself happier, better, more calm, relaxed, and all those kind of things. So essay is one of those tools that I use to do that.
That's awesome. It's probably not unfair to say that you're probably on the SE Discord server, probably the most well known for defending the Catholic faith position. Is there any other subjects that you would you'd like to explore more often? Like, is there any other topics, any other claims about things that you think would make for conversations people might not be so quick to associate you with?
No, these other claims about I have some few of them in the 4,000 claims I have. No, it's 40. Anyway, the 40 claims I have one or two that are not about God, but they are all related to God because epistemology is about, for me, is about what I should or shouldn't do, and what is good and what is bad, and my position on this is good and this is bad. If you have other claims like that do not involve morality, it's hard for me to question it because so I don't have many claims that do not involve morality. My claims do have morality involved, and since morality is involved, there is God somewhere in there.
Okay, fair enough. Last question is there anything that you'd like the community to know about you, or like that you think people might not know that, or might surprise them to find out about you at that you'd like to let them know about now? Or is there anything you'd like to say to the community? Or
I don't have a YouTube channel, so
you don't have a YouTube channel. Exactly. Like, comment, and subscribe. I literally said that on an SE video the other day. It felt so cheap. I was sort of doing it tongue in cheek, but as it transpired, I still felt really dirty on the inside after saying it. But it was
well, you have to. It's so much time and energy is spent once you do have a YouTube channel. It's I remember I had a video to make for my school, so I went to school and I had to edit a video of myself. I was alone talking to a camera, and I remember how many takes I had to make, and the final things that I had wasn't still good enough for me, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do that for a living. At least that was because I was exploring if I wanted to be a how do you call that? Anyway, video editor, whatnot.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it was a school. It was a course made for that. It was a course to study how to make a movie and how to animate things and stuff like that. So
cool.
I was like, maybe this is something that I want to do, or I want to explore my artsy part of my of my being. Maybe this will. I know, no, it's not.
That's cool.
So I have a deep appreciation for those YouTubers, and when they say subscribe and like and hit the bell kind of thing, I'm like, yes, I will understand what you're saying and why you say it after each of your videos, because this is the first time that this person has seen you or heard from you and heard the result of those hours. Those hours, it takes time to cater a video before uploading. It's amazing. It's
a lot of work and time and energy to make something look like it didn't take any work or time or energy. It is overwhelming.
Yes, and sometimes you even a 30 seconds video or 10 seconds video, you can find them, and then the time behind it, it's well, anyway.
Well, they don't have the advantage of just being able to call upon Luke to come in and be your absolutely usual charming and charismatic self, laughing as always with the most what's the word, infectious laugh. That's what I was looking for there. Thank you so much, Luke. I really appreciate you doing this. It's really good fun. I mean, I'm loving getting a chance to talk to people from the community in any case and hearing different perspectives on it. Yours has been no less so. So yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and I'm sure we will speak again. But yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.